fellow friends and YouTubers, this is Kurt, and welcome back to the Kurt's Place channel here on the YouTube. We're back down here in my basement arcade for another video game video for you. Now, in this video, I'm actually going to explain to you the difference between cabinets that have the monitors mounted vertically and cabinets that have the monitors mounted horizontally. This will be a little video explaining to you one of the reasons why the monitors are mounted the way they are in each of these cabinets, and it'll give you an idea of the type of cabinet that you might want to build. I also want to mention that if you want to go ahead and click the subscribe button, feel free to do so. That way you can keep up with all my current videos. If you have any comments, leave those in the comments section down below. If you like what you see, go ahead and hit that like button as well. And also, while you're watching the video, if you click the little bell icon during the video while it's playing, that will let you know whenever I have new videos coming out as well. I also want to mention too that on my channel, and I currently have 3 bar top arcade machines now that are featured on my channel that I built in my basement arcade from the ground up. The 3, if you want to watch the videos, just go to the top of my video when you're on my channel, then your little hourglass, you can type in, the first one's going to be the Pandora's Box 5S bar top arcade machine. That was the first one that I built. The second one I built is the Legacy bar top arcade machine. That one's dedicated to my dad. And then the third one I built is going to be the Traveler bar top arcade machine. That's the latest one that I built. And there's going to be videos on my channel that explaining to you the different features of each of these cabinets as well. And also I will, over the next few months and things, I will be having gameplays as well from these different cabinets. Okay, let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to go ahead and show you 2 examples of how monitors are mounted, and also how, in addition to that, I'm going to also show you that it's not impossible to play certain types of games on either of these cabinets. It all depends on what type of cabinet and games and things that you're into as far as how you want to actually mount your monitor. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to go ahead and start out with the, we'll go ahead and let me take this camera off the tripod. I'm going to go ahead and show you 2 of the cabinets that I have down here, and I actually have the monitors mounted so you get an idea of different types of monitor mounting that you can do. Now I'm going to turn the light on so you can see this a little bit easier when I show you this video here too. Okay. Now the first one we're going to focus on is we're going to focus on the Legacy cabinet. Now you're going to notice that the Legacy cabinet has the monitor mounted basically horizontally. This is exactly the way you would have it. If you were like working on your computer, this is the orientation you would have your computer sitting at, if you like a regular computer screen. That's how Robotron's mounted. Now the cabinet next to it. Okay, this is going to be horizontal. The cabinet next to it actually has the monitor mounted vertically, which means instead of having the monitor mounted flat like this, we take the monitor and we flip it on its end and we have it go up and down like this cabinet here. Okay, now the reason being is that some games like Robotron and things like that, Robotron was designed to have a cabinet that was vertical like you see here. Basically the same as your computer would be in your computer desktop. That's how this game was designed. Some arcade cabinets have games mounted that are going to be horizontal like this. Good examples are your Street Fighter games have the orientation of the cabinets mounted like this. Games like this Biomechanical Toy also have the monitors mounted flat like that, as you can see here in the horizontal mode. This is the vertical version right here. Now this is a vertical mounted cabinet for games like Pac-Man. Now I'm going to show you something too. Now these 2 cabinets we're going to focus on because these are both running on Raspberry Pi. Okay. Now you can see that I have Robotron running on a horizontal cabinet. Now you might be asking yourself, can you run Robotron on a vertically mounted cabinet? The answer is yes. Now let me show you what it looks like when you do that, and then I'll show you another game that has the same thing on the other game to show you the differences between the 2. Okay, now we're going to exit out of Pac-Man. Okay. Now as you can see on this cabinet I'm running Robotron. I'm also going to go ahead and mount Robotron on this cabinet so you can see what it looks like. Now what main programs will do is, if you try to run a game like this on a vertical cabinet, it will run, but the orientation may look a little unusual because of the fact it's not in the regular way the monitor will be mounted. MAME does basically the best thing it can to try to replicate that as much as it can based on the screen that you're using. Now you're going to notice that because the monitor is mounted up and down here, the actual part where the game would play is not being used because of the orientation of the monitor. As you can see here, this game is supposed to be in this format here, and as you can see, what it does is MAME tries to replicate that as best it can by doing what you have here. As you can see, it will run the games, but as you can see, it's not using the space on the top and bottom because the monitor is mounted the other direction, as you can see here. Okay. Now let me give you another example. Let me show you what happens if you try to mount Pac-Man on a cabinet that has the monitor mounted in the horizontal position when it's supposed to really run on a vertical monitor. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, we'll load up Pac-Man here. Actually, I have Super Pac-Man. We'll load that up here. And then I'll show you the difference between the two here. Then we'll have them both on both cabinets to show what each of them looks like. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to load up Pac-Man. I'm going to go ahead and load up Super Pac-Man on the other cabinet as well. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to have Super Pac-Man on both cabinets to show you the difference. Now, as you can see, this Pac-Man cabinet is now running on a cabinet that has a monitor mounted vertically, as you can see here. Now, once again, MAME does the best it can to replicate this as best as possible to make it look as close to the arcade dimensions as possible. In this example, I'll show you the difference between the two here by zooming back. Okay. Now, this actually has Pac-Man mounted. Running on a horizontal cabinet mounted monitor. This has Super Pac-Man running on a cabinet that's mounted with up and down, the way the true arcade resolutions are. Now, keep in mind that most of my cabinets in my game room that I have here, for example, pretty much all my arcade machines have the monitors mounted up and down because my main focus games that I mainly focus on games like Pac-Man and Galaga. So therefore, the monitors are mounted up and down on all my arcade machines. This has it up and down. This has it up and down. Okay, and as you can see, both bar top machines have it mounted up and down as well. But as you can see, this one here has it mounted vertically. So now you get a pretty good idea of what type of, how you can mount different monitors and the reason why they have monitors mounted the way that they do. So what you have to determine when you're making an arcade machine, you have to determine, are you going to play games like Robotron? One of the things you can determine when you're playing, let me exit out of this and bring Robotron back up for us. Okay. Okay, so one of the things you have to determine when you're making an arcade cabinet is what type of games are going to be your primary games. The primary games that you're trying to play, that's going to be one of the things that determines what type of monitor installation you're going to want to do. Now, if you're running games, for example, like the Raspberry Pi, this machine, these are both running Raspberry, both machines are running Raspberry Pi. If you're going to have games like emulators like Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, if you're going to run RetroPie on a bar top setup, or if you're going to be running things like a Pandora's Box 5S, you're better off having the monitors mounted vertically because that's how these games are designed to run on these monitors. They're designed to run vertically. If you have games like Nintendo and things like that, Super Nintendo, all those are designed from what I've seen so far to run on vertical monitors as they are here. So it's going to be determined by what type of game you like as to what type of monitor orientation you have. Now, if you do decide to go with this monitor here with the true arcade resolutions, then you're going to want to make sure that your games are more focused on games that run vertical. For example, a good example of vertical games are Burger Time, Miss Pac-Man, Pac-Man, Super Pac-Man, Xevious, Zaxxon. Those are all games that run with the screens mounted basically in the vertical position. So hopefully this video has helped you out determining what type of monitor that you want to have based on your arcade situation and cabinet that you're going to be building. I want to thank you again, by the way, for tuning into the Kurt's Place channel, and I hope that you all have a really great day. And also, I wish you the best luck on your next arcade project as well. You all have a great day now. Bye-bye now.